The News at Noon starts right now.
We now know the name of the man who was arrested for damaging multiple cars by allegedly throwing rocks at them. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the people hit say they still have questions.
So police detained 28-year-old Victor Gustavo Hernandez Jr. and mentioned that he took off his clothing before they caught up to him. So this all happened around noon yesterday on North Alamo near I-37 downtown. However, our crews saw the most damage on Broadway.
We spoke to drivers whose cars were damaged, and they say they were in shock, but just thankful for their lives.
God was watching out for us because the size of the concrete block he threw through my windshield, if this were not safety glass, it could have gone right through the windshield and could have injured someone.
Hernandez is being charged with 5 counts of criminal mischief, evading arrest, and attempt to take a weapon from an officer.
So if something like this happens to your vehicle, Progressive Insurance says vandalism is often covered by comprehensive coverage on your auto policy minus any deductible. Progressive says this is covered since intentional damage to your vehicle is out of your control. So vandalism often includes slashed tires, broken windows, and any type of defacing of the vehicle. Be sure to check with your insurance if something like this happens to you.
Well, it is an incredibly tough subject to talk about, but having open discussions could save children's lives. Child suicide numbers are climbing rapidly, and parents whose worst nightmare did come true, they want you to know that doesn't have to be your child and that you can take action.
She would close off. She would not speak sometimes, or when she was with us, sometimes she'd want to just sleep.
I wish I had been stronger at what happened with Sydney, but I wanted her to know, and I want all kids to know that it's okay to not be okay.
Tonight, you'll hear from this brave couple I got to interview who talks about losing their precious teenager to suicide. They break stigma, offer support to others who have lost their kids this way, but also offer parents signs and advice so they never end up in the same position. That story tonight at 6.
Out there with live cam this afternoon. We are warming up to 84 degrees now, but what a nice morning it was.
Truly was, and it's not so bad right now, but we are going to get into some pretty warm temperatures this afternoon. You can see all the blue skies out there. Really a great way to end the week, and the weekend's looking good too. Let me show you how cool it did get this morning very quickly, and then we'll get into the forecast. 66 was the low here in San Antonio. We got down to 55 in Kerrville. And same story around Bernie, 56, Fredericksburg. So there were some really, really nice numbers this morning. And the good news here, we're going to do this again tomorrow morning. So we'll get to enjoy some great mornings coming up. But the afternoons, yeah, we're warming up pretty quickly, and it is going to get into the 90s. In fact, Stinson's just on the verge of getting there. 90 in Floresville, 88 Converse. We're at 84 at the airport, but you can expect low 90s this afternoon. 92 by 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. That will probably be our high. And if you're heading out to some of the football games tonight, temperatures, once the sun goes down, fall off pretty quickly, and so it will be quite comfortable for whatever plans you have on this Friday night. 78 at 10 o'clock, 76 at 11 o'clock. And yes, by tomorrow morning, we're back in the mid-60s. And we've got some pretty good weather coming up, although we are lacking rainfall. We'll talk about what that means for our drought situation coming up in just a couple minutes. Courtney?
And thanks so much. Overnight on the west side, an argument between 2 men turned into gunfire at an apartment complex just north of Highway 90. It happened just after 1 this morning. Police say the 2 men, both in their 20s, were arguing in the parking lot when at some point the suspect went inside his apartment and the victim knocked on his door. Police say the suspect then fired several shots through the door, hitting the victim twice. The victim was rushed to the hospital, and that suspect surrendered without incident.
Well, we now know the name of the person whose remains were found outside a San Antonio business. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office says that person was 30-year-old Austin Thomas Rosdick. Now, the remains were discovered on September 16th outside a San Antonio business by an employee who was cutting the grass at the time. The medical examiner believes that he died the day before.
A San Antonio man has been added to the Texas Most Wanted Sex Offenders list. This is John Lynch Goodwin, and he's been wanted out of Bexar County since March 2025 for failing to comply with requirements to register as a sex offender. In 1988, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the aggravated sexual assault of 2 underage girls. And then in 2020, he was convicted and sentenced to 5 more years in prison for failing to comply with sex offender registration requirements. And according to DPS, Goodwin was released from prison in April 2024. In cooperation with the Texas Crime Stoppers, anyone with information that leads to Goodwin's arrest can earn up to $5,000.
Well, can making music help your hearing? We have the surprising study that could change how you think about sound.
Plus, a new coffee shop now open, helping former addicts rebuild their lives. Stay with us to meet the baker who's turned his struggles into hope.
And San Antonio's mayor just hit 100 days in office this week, but did she deliver on her promises? After the break, hear her honest take on what's next for the city. Well, yesterday, San Antonio Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones hit a milestone, 100 days in office.
During her campaign, she promised to tackle 14 big priorities in that time. So how did she do? When we asked her about that list, the only one she says she's definitely checked off is changing how the city handles non-disclosure agreements, a move she says will bring more transparency to city business.
Sarah Garrett Beringer asked her if she feels like these first 100 days have been a success. She told us that she judges her work by whether she can look at herself in the mirror and know that she's done everything she can for the community. And while there's still work to do, she says she is ready to keep pushing for San Antonio's future.
I think a good leader also recognizes when priorities shift and when needs change in the community, that you adjust accordingly.
Now, during that interview, Mayor Jones also spoke about the challenges the city continues to face. You can watch the full interview by scanning the QR code on your screen right now.
And it is something that we have been following and something that giving the city feedback on. But now we want to know, what questions do you have about plans for the new Spurs Arena? We'd love to hear what you're thinking, so you can scan that QR code on your screen to send us your questions, and we're going to make sure that you get answers.
This arena is a key part of Project Marvel, a proposed sports and entertainment district right downtown. Voters will decide this November whether to approve using Bexar County funds to help pay for it.
Alamo City to the Texas Capital Sound. So new legislation is laying the groundwork for a 100-mile trail from San Antonio to Austin. The new trails will be made to connect with the existing ones. The idea is that you'll be able to go from the Alamo up to Comal Springs, San Marcos Springs, all the way up to the state capitol.
That would be a long trail.
Yes.
All right, well, we've been talking about it for weeks. Tomorrow is finally the 12th annual Head for the Cure 5K race.
And of course, this is the event that began as a small 5K in San Antonio back in 2014. This was to honor our late news director, Jim Boyle. Now it has grown into a big show of support for brain cancer patients and their families. It's happening tomorrow again at 8 a.m. right close to us here at KSAT at Providence Catholic School.
You can head to ksatcommunity.com to register and get more details. The weather is going to be beautiful.
Yes, it's going to work out. We're very excited.
Are you running too, Justin?
I am. So
okay.
That means I'm going to start carb loading tonight. Not because I'm running the race, just because I love carbs, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, we're running tomorrow, and I'm very excited about it. And it is a great event. We'd love for you to join us if you still can, if you'd like to come out. The aquifer is down 0.2 of a foot today to 629.2. Not a good number. Not a good number at all. And we'll talk about where we stand in that regard coming up in just a few minutes. And in your pollen count, don't love this either. Molds and ragweed are both moderate, 700 and 120 respectively. We'll look at the drought, at the situation that we're in, and also that weekend forecast for you coming up.
Well, if you love music, here's some good news for you. A new study suggests that people who play instruments may actually have better hearing as they age than those who don't.
Now, that doesn't mean you should ignore the risks of loud sounds, but it does show how music can help your brain stay sharp. Here's Olivia Rubin with today's Medical Minute.
People who play musical instruments are often exposed to a lot of sound, but a study published in PLOS Biology suggests that senior musicians may have better hearing than others. When listening in noisy places, older musicians appear to use their brains more efficiently, and they didn't have to work as hard to understand speech. Of course, that doesn't mean you should deliberately stand next to a blaring trumpet or someone banging on the drums for hours on end. If you play or perform music regularly, take extra steps to protect your hearing, like using musician-grade earplugs and taking breaks from the noise. You can also download a phone app to monitor noise levels and let you know if your decibel levels stay too high for too long. And whether or not you jam with a band, it's a good idea to get your hearing checked on a regular basis as you get older. With this Medical Minute, I'm Olivia Rubin.
And speaking of music, today and tomorrow, there is a jazz festival happening at Hemisphere Park, and it's free. So the festival is called Jazz SA Live, and it's been around for 41 years now. So more than 40 vendor booths will be there, some creations from local artists that you can shop at there, and also a pumpkin patch. So for a more elevated experience, there are VIP options available as well.
We've been to that event. It's amazing. Also happening tomorrow, young musicians have a unique opportunity to explore their future at a music college fair from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The free event is open to high school and middle school students from all over San Antonio who are interested in pursuing a career in music. Students and their families will have the chance to meet directly with representatives from conservatories, universities, and music schools. Interested students can register online at music.yosa.org/fair. Now to a follow-up on the expansion of Comfort Cafe on Bandera Road. The nonprofit, donations-based restaurant's coffee shop is officially open and thriving. We're not surprised about that. Our Daphne Gray stopped by Sweet Serenity and caught up with one of the volunteers who is in addiction recovery and is their head baker. Jamison Bedoy has a past with drugs and alcohol, but once he got connected with Serenity Star Recovery Program years ago, he spent the past few years doing what he loves, baking and sharing his testimony to inspire others. He says seeing the cafe and now the coffee shop as it is today is rewarding.
With your dark past, and seeing this bright rainbow.
Light.
Yeah, light.
Yeah,
like
so much light.
It has just got to be something that you're excited about seeing every single day.
But I mean, yes, you know, like the darkness is part of it, you know what I mean? And it's part of me, but at the same time, it's like really like just focusing now, and it takes work, you know what I mean? It's not easy. It takes work to get to, you know, these spots, but at the same time, it's like really just like focusing on the light and like, you know, what we're doing here, you know what I mean? And especially like now, like as biggest time as ever, you know, like people need that love, people need that light, and like, you know, they can come in here and it's a safe place, you know? Sweet Serenity, Comfort Cafe, safe places, beautiful.
So here is another reminder. If you need a place to go for coffee or a crepe and you want 100% of your dollars going to recovery efforts of those struggling with substance or alcohol abuse, Sweet Serenity is open every Thursday through Sunday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And there goes Jeff with the moves.
She was excited about the food there.
The food is amazing. If you haven't been to Comfort Cafe, go there. Sweet Serenity, it's incredible.
You never know what Jeff is thinking, right? It's not obvious.
Is she happy? Is she not?
I don't know.
He brought me a coffee from there yesterday.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
All the food there was
It could have been hot too because it was cool this morning.
Yes.
I seriously was thinking about it this morning when I woke up early. I was like, I could actually have a hot coffee and not be miserable and sweating right now.
For like 1 hour, yes.
Wonderful morning.
It's
for the morning.
It's almost sweater weather. Almost. We're getting there. It did feel good this morning. It'll feel good again tomorrow morning. Before we get into all those numbers, though, I want to show you some numbers with regards to the drought. It has been prolonged, and I kind of want to put it in perspective here. So what we're looking at is a calendar, and I know it's really hard to read. The type is small here, but basically these are dates. So this is 2011 to roughly 2015, and where you see the oranges and especially the maroons, that's where we've been in drought. And we're talking specifically about our viewing area here, South Central Texas. So we know we were in a prolonged drought from 2011 to 2015, about 4 years there. Then our latest drought is stretching from roughly 2021, September of 2021 to now. And we're still very much in drought. In fact, it seems to be getting worse again. So this has been another long-term drought. We're going on 4 years now. And it has been, if you want to put it in terms of days, nearly 1,500 days since all of South Central Texas was considered drought-free. So it's been rough. There's just no two ways around it. And we really thought, maybe we would, this September, we would start to maybe dig out of things and get some good rainfall. It has not materialized. And the aquifer is down to 629, roughly 629, which is way below average, 659.6. And the last time the aquifer was at a healthy level, which I would consider about 650, you got to go back to April 2022. So you get where I'm going with this. It's not a good situation, and it could get worse considering that we're expecting a La Nina winter, which usually is drier than average. We're at 25.09 for the year. Now, look, that's actually not a bad number. We're still a little bit above average, but if things continue the way they are, it's going to drop below average, and we're certainly not seeing any rain today. It is really pretty gorgeous out there right now. 84 here in San Antonio, 86 and sunny in New Braunfels, 88 at Stinson. And yes, we will make the 90s today thanks to very dry air. So dew points will drop into the 50s today. They'll rebound a little bit tomorrow morning, but we'll still be able to see temperatures drop into the 60s, and then we're back in the 50s tomorrow afternoon. So it's very kind of dry and desert-like out there, and that gets those temperatures to warm up pretty quickly and pretty efficiently. 92. The high today, 94 Stinson, 88 in Bernie, 88 in Comfort, 92 out in Uvalde, 94 for Nixon, 93 in Gonzales. And low temperatures tomorrow morning, 60s. Again, mid-60s here in San Antonio. And I know this says low 60s in the Hill Country. I really think we'll see 50s again. We did this morning. There's no reason to think we won't again tomorrow. So it will be a great start to your Saturday. 93 for a high Saturday, 91 on Sunday. Do know that we'll see a bit more cloud cover on Sunday, which would keep temperatures down a little bit. And very quickly, I just want to mention the precipitation outlook going forward. Again, not good. We don't have a lot of rain. We don't have any rain in the 7-day forecast. And you look beyond that, it shows a drier than average stretch here. So it's going to be, I think, another week and a half at least before we talk about any rain chances, unfortunately. And you see the numbers there, low 90s again this weekend, and probably next week too. Monday may be our coolest day just because we see a little added cloud cover there, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Justin. Well, the family of a missing 8-year-old is speaking out after Camp Mystic announced it will reopen one of its locations next year. Still ahead, hear their powerful response.
In this week's Pickup Lines, we learn more about Commissioner Grant Moody, a Navy veteran, statistics expert, and also farmer's son, how data drives his decisions and the personal cost of his service on.
My oldest, Paige, was 6 months old at the time.
Yeah.
So I had to leave to go to Afghanistan for 7 months, miss her first Christmas, first birthday. It was tough. It was tough on my wife. It was tough on our whole family. But when you're home, being intentional about carving out that time with your family, because I mean, it's you hear it all the time, but you don't get those years back.
No, and it goes by like that, as you know.
Well, this week on Pickup Lines, our Ernie Zuniga had a candid conversation with Bexar County Precinct 3 Commissioner Grant Moody. So you can watch the latest episode at 5:30 and 7:30 this evening on the free KSAT Plus app, or you can watch it now on our website, ksat.com. You can just search Pickup Lines.
The family of an 8-year-old girl who is still missing after the July 4th floods is criticizing a Hill Country camp for its intentions to reopen. KSAT received a copy of this letter directed at leadership at Camp Mystic. It was written by Cece and Will Stewart on behalf of themselves and some of the other parents in the Heavens 27 Memorial Group. The Stewart's daughter, Seal, is the only one still missing. She's among the 27 girls and counselors who lost their lives in the July 4th floods. Part of the letter said, quote, to promote reopening less than 3 months after the tragedy while one camper remains missing is unthinkable. Your communications treat our never-ending nightmare as little more than a brief pause before resuming business as usual, end quote. It continues to say, worse still, you are preparing to invite children to swim in the very river that may still hold our daughter's body when you plan to reopen your gates, end quote. KSAT did reach out to Camp Mystic about this letter from the stewards, but have not received a response yet.
And a reminder for people still looking for financial help after the Hill Country floods, the deadline to apply is September 28th, and that's this Sunday. So people who live in qualifying counties can submit damages and make claims to FEMA. We have a link on our website to apply. That's KSAT.com.
Plans to build a wastewater treatment facility over the Helotes Creek watershed is raising major concerns for local researchers. We'll talk about those concerns and what it means for those living near the area.
And Texas is still divided over THC laws, with new restrictions coming in October. What's next and how it could impact the state? Well, THC has always been a pretty controversial topic in Texas, and this summer was no different.
Two separate special legislative sessions included conversations about THC, but Governor Abbott vetoed the first bill. The second time around, the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, announced the legislature would not be moving forward with a decision. Governor Abbott did sign an executive order that will start being enforced October 1, banning anyone from under 21 from buying THC products.
However, this is likely not the end of the road. KSAT's Zaria Oates spoke with the Texas Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller, about just how big of an impact a potential ban on THC would have in Texas.
If we do implement a complete and 100% ban, it'll put 6,000 businesses out of business.
If an outlaw was to happen and these businesses have to stop selling, basically stop producing, is there a plan in place to either get them back on their feet if this is their main source of income?
No plan that I know of. If it's a complete and total ban, I think that's just what it'll be. There's no option for them.
Well, the commissioner said if the legislature does move forward with a ban, it would take months before that became law. He says they would have to make a public notice, have public comment, and public testimonies because the topic is so controversial.
Now to the latest on plans to build a wastewater treatment facility over the Helotes Creek watershed. Some researchers warn that could contaminate the drinking water for the 2.5 million people who depend on it. We have an expert reaction on KSAT.com. Earlier this week, we ran a KSAT Explains on the proposed Guajolote Ranch development in northwest Bexar County and why it's facing backlash. In response to that story, Lennar, which is the corporation behind the project, sent this statement saying, in part, our facility will be among the most advanced of the area's dozen or so treatment plants already operating over the contributing zone, end quote. You can scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen to read the full statement and watch this story.
Out there with live cam. Yes, we're heating up, but at least in the shade, not too bad, and can't get over the nice cool morning we had and the one we'll see tomorrow too.
Yep, it's we're cruising with some pretty good fall weather finally after a weak front. It wasn't terribly strong, but strong enough to give us some dry air here in South Texas. Let me show you the dew points across the state, and this is an important number here. Because keep in mind, the temperature can't, well, first off, can't fall below that dew point, but the lower you get that dew point, the lower these temperatures are able to fall. And we still have some pretty good humidity down in Corpus Christi, Laredo, and Brownsville, but it's really relegated to deep South Texas. Our dew point here, 52. And so that should allow temperatures, yes, to warm up this afternoon, but cool down very nicely once the sun goes down tonight. Especially considering we'll have clear skies and light winds. It's just a good combination to get low temperatures. 92 is where we're headed today. There will be some 80s up around Dallas and Waco, but an uneventful day here in the Lone Star State. And it's, bringing pretty nice weather. 65 degrees is tomorrow's low, so that's where we're going to start on Saturday. We'll end up right back where we are today in the low 90s. But we'll have a stretch here with temperatures in the 60s, and honestly, this is right about average for late September. The average is 67. So it'll be 68, 67 Sunday through Wednesday. But if you like those cool mornings, tomorrow is your morning. Enjoy it. Coming up, we're going to look at the tropics, man. Things are getting interesting, especially if you're watching or if you have friends and family out in the Carolinas. We've got to watch the situation very closely. We're going to have an update on that here in just a couple minutes, guys.
All right, thanks, Justin. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been repeatedly condemned as a war criminal by other world leaders during the United Nations General Assembly in New York this week.
And now Netanyahu got his turn to speak, taking a strong stance against the countries that formally voiced their support for Palestinian statehood. ABC's Rena Roy is following the story from New York.
Delegates from dozens of countries walking out of the United Nations General Assembly this morning, moments before Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke.
Please order in the hall.
Netanyahu defending himself and the actions he's taken in Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza.
The final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. They vow to repeat the atrocities of October 7th again and again and again, no matter how diminished their forces. That is why Israel must finish the job.
Netanyahu slamming the world leaders who have formally announced their support for an independent Palestinian state during the annual global summit.
There's a familiar saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, for many countries here, when the going got tough, you caved. And here's the shameful result of that collapse.
Protests today in Times Square, just blocks away from the UN headquarters in New York. Netanyahu ordering his speech be broadcast live today on loudspeakers aimed at Gaza from the Israeli side of the border. And Netanyahu saying Israeli intelligence live streamed the speech to cell phones in Gaza. In his address, Netanyahu speaking directly to the 20 hostages believed to still be living.
We have not forgotten you, not even for a second.
The Israel-Gaza war has been a key topic at the General Assembly this year, with many members condemning Netanyahu as a war criminal. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas says the goal is one unified Palestinian state that Hamas would have no role in governing and that they would have to turn over their weapons to Palestinian Authority. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Well, hundreds of current and former VA doctors, nurses, and caregivers have sent a strong warning to the Department of Veteran Affairs. In a letter sent to the VA Secretary Doug Collins, the group says recent staffing cuts and moves to outsource care to private doctors and facilities could hurt veterans. They warn this could weaken the VA's healthcare system and strain its budget. More than 350 healthcare professionals, including doctors, psychologists, nurses, and researchers, have all signed the letter. While the letter does not mention President Trump by name, it points to policies since his second term that have led to these changes. The group says veterans' care is at risk if these cuts continue.
Well, Americans are keeping their wallets open and spending a little more than expected. New data from the Commerce Department shows consumer spending in the U.S. rose by 0.6% back in July. So that's a bit higher than many economists had predicted, according to estimates from KSAT. And in the same time, inflation is still on the rise, hitting a 6-month high. So for families, that means prices are going up, but people are still buying.
When it comes to politics these days, negativity seems to win out over enthusiasm. For the first time in nearly 10 years of polling, more than half of Americans say the country's best days are behind us. The 3 3/4 believe our political system needs some big changes. Some say a complete overhaul.
So this is according to the CNN polling done by the summer. And when people were asked which party, Democrats or Republicans, has the right priorities, the answer was clear: neither. So 42% said they didn't think either party had it right, more than those who picked either side. So it's a sign of the frustration many Americans feel about politics today.
School should be fun. That's the promise from KSAT's Educator of the Month. Still ahead, we meet the principal making a difference at a local elementary school.
And Fiesta 2026 is already taking shape. We'll look at the 5 finalists for the official poster and when the winner will be revealed.
And do you have what it takes to rename a San Antonio landmark? How you can make your mark on Source Plaza. All right, it's time to put your thinking caps on because you could leave your mark on San Antonio by helping rename Source Plaza. The city is looking for your ideas.
So you can find a link to a survey by scanning this QR code right at the bottom of your screen and submit your naming ideas by October 1st, and the winning name will be announced in November. Please, no Fred's Fish Fry. Just saying. I know they joked about that for what?
They did joke about it. That's funny. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of funny suggestions.
There's some creative people out there.
There are. I think we can do it, guys.
What a beautiful scene as we look towards downtown San Antonio. A little bit of an alert, though, I want to pass along to you. We are looking at I-10 at West Avenue. This is inbound to downtown, so we're talking east on I-10. Looks like the Hildebrand exit right here. There's a car that's turned the wrong way, so that's going to cause some slowdowns. And if you look at the map, not a lot of slowdowns around the area, but this one is showing a little bit of slower traffic there, right after West Avenue. Just a heads up. Really the only incident that we're seeing here on the map. Forecast for your weekend is coming up.
Educator of the Month, brought to you by First Mark Credit Union.
School should be fun, and that is a message from Ileana Perez. She is the principal at Northside ISD's Fields Elementary, and she is KSAT's Educator of the Month.
Congratulations to her. Her staff tells us that she's an amazing leader and that she makes every student who walks through the doors of her school feel special.
A visit from Northside ISD Superintendent Dr. John Kraft, a pretty special moment for the students and staff at Randall Fields Elementary.
This week's edition of the Spirit Stick to none other than Ms. Perez and the Fields Falcons. Congratulations.
Thank you. But it's also a special day for Fields Elementary Principal Ileana Perez.
Ileana Perez, congratulations. You are KSAT's Educator of the Month and highly recommended from your staff and your students and your parents.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. This is your award.
Although Ileana Perez said she was surprised and honored to be recognized as KSAT's Educator of the Month, she was quick to credit her teachers and her staff.
We have a great staff. Like, our teachers are amazing. We have a lot of veteran teachers. They care about the kids. They love the kids. And it's just one of the best communities I've ever worked for. And our teachers work really hard. Our parents are wonderful. And the kids, I mean, the easiest part is the kids. They're amazing.
And Ileana comes from a family of educators, including her mother, Rosanna Perez, who tells us that she is just so proud of her daughter.
Well, Ilana called me every morning at 6 o'clock on the way to work to debrief on her plans of what she's planning to do with the school, and everything has to do with the kids, with the teachers, and she cares about all of them like they are family. So this award, I think it means a lot to her.
And something Ms. Perez is also passionate about, making school fun.
I heard that sometimes you even dress up to greet students.
Oh gosh, should anybody send you pictures? We play music in the morning whenever kids walk in, just because, it makes it more fun. And if kids like coming to school and it's fun, then they want to come. Parents too, parents will dance across the crosswalk. And we want it to be a fun and exciting place.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Congratulations again. What's also cool about Ileana Perez is that she is the product of Northside ISD. So she went to Broccoli Elementary, Timberwild Elementary as well, Stevenson Middle School, and she graduated from O'Connor High School. So
wow, she seems like I want to hang out with her.
Right?
That traffic cone outfit is my favorite.
That is my favorite as well.
It's pretty spot on. I feel like I might do that for Halloween.
Yeah, how is she going to outdo herself on Halloween? That's the question.
I think all the kids are waiting to see what's next.
Now you got to one-up yourself.
It's true. Great story, Steph.
Yeah.
I love seeing those teachers do what they do. They're so important to this community.
Yes.
Okay, in the tropics, we've got a couple of systems here. And, the last couple of weeks we've been discussing, the last couple days, I should say, we've been discussing just how unique this setup is. Okay, so we got Hurricane Humberto. Winds are at 90 miles per hour. This is a Category 1 hurricane here. And then we've got a developing system which still remains disorganized at this hour, but high odds of development. If it does, it would become Imelda. And the question all along here is when you get two hurricanes this close together, there's a lot of things that can happen. One includes the bigger hurricane swallowing up the other. But also there is an opportunity that maybe these just stay separated, and that's looking like the most likely scenario at this point. If you look at the track here, this one from the Hurricane Center, this is your spaghetti plots from our computer models. And the Hurricane Center feels pretty confident that Humberto is going to go northwest, but take that turn back out around Bermuda, that boomerang turn, and it would become a major hurricane but have little effect on land other than maybe Bermuda. But with Imelda, we have quite a few models that are clustered right over South Carolina and North Georgia. So that is the most likely scenario. Now, there's a couple that want to try to pull it into Humberto. We shall see. But if you are watching from or have friends and family from North Carolina, South Carolina, or even Georgia, this is one you have to watch. It could put down a ton of rainstorm, surge, wind, all the things that come along with a hurricane. So those on the East Coast, this is just one of those situations where you need to be prepared because it would be early next week if this thing makes landfall, and it likely does strengthen as it crosses the Gulf Stream there. All right, bigger picture here across the country. There's the front that moved through, and all of Texas now is post-frontal, and we're dealing with just quiet conditions, sinking air, dry air, and it just feels better outside. Even though I know it's still hot, but you extract that humidity out of the atmosphere, and you can tell the difference. 88 degrees right now in Houston, 84 Abilene, 86 Dallas. We're at 86 here in San Antonio, and you can see this front was not one of those big-time fronts. I mean, you look at the numbers behind it, it's still putting warm all the way up into the plains. But what it did do is erase that thick humidity that was in place, and for that reason, we have basically cloud-free skies. 84 degrees at the airport, 86 in New Braunfels, 88 Converse, 88 at Stinson. And here is how you can tell the air is very dry. This is your feels like number. Usually we talk about a heat index being above what the temperature is. In this case, it's below. And when you get very dry air, that happens. So it actually feels cooler than that actual air temperature just because everything is so incredibly dry. 87 degrees noontime, 92 is where we end up this afternoon for a high temperature. And very quickly, the big game tomorrow, at least in my opinion, Auburn travels to College Station. Temperatures will be in the 80s here, sunny skies. Big game, big game. I'm a little nervous. The other Texas team playing Baylor travels to Stillwater, Oklahoma, Boone-Pickens Stadium. 80s here and sunny skies. So good weather for both of those football games. Everyone else is on bye, including the Longhorns. 93 Saturday, 91 Sunday. Look for 90s next week too. Good luck to you Longhorns next week.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
And I have family members that will be at the A&M game, so they're super excited to be there.
It'll be a good one.
I know. Don't be nervous. It's going to be okay.
I am.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Well, the FDA is reviewing a common abortion drug, raising questions about safety and access, what this means for women's health and access to care.
Well, a massive new tariff on imported drugs is set to start next month. How this could affect your medicine and the future of drug making in America.
Starting next month, a new massive tariff will hit some imported drugs. President Trump announced brand name or patented drugs will face a 100% tariff. But this tariff won't apply to drug companies that are building manufacturing plants here in the U.S. Trump says he's using this move to push drug makers to boost production at home and make the supply chain for medicine stronger. While this could mean higher costs for some imported medicines, the goal is to make America more self-reliant when it comes to essential drugs.
Well, the Food and Drug Administration is set to review the safety and effectiveness of the abortion drug mifepristone to ensure it can be dispensed safely. So the Trump administration describes this review as a step to protect women's health. However, abortion rights advocates fear it could signal new federal restrictions on access to medication abortion. Clinical studies and decades of use have proven that mifepristone to be safe and effective. That's according to the FDA since approval in 2000. Now, there have been only 5 deaths per 1 million users, according to the FDA.
New research shows most firearm suicides among kids in the U.S. involve their parents' guns. For kids ages 10 to 17, the guns are 10 times more likely to be owned by parents who keep them unlocked and loaded. While this study has not been peer-reviewed yet, it matches what previous research has also found. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death for teens and preteens in America, second for kids 10 to 14, and third for those 15 to 19. And firearms are the most common method they use. This highlights the importance of safe gun storage to help protect young lives.
Nice to hear that, right?
I know, I love hearing that in the fall.
Yes, it may be September, but it's never too early to talk about Fiesta. And last night we saw 5 potential designs for the official Fiesta 2026 poster.
They were unveiled at an event at the San Antonio Garden Center. Each one was made by a student from each of the 5 Alamo colleges. They're supposed to go with Fiesta 2026 theme, which is together. Fiesta together.
Our poster represents everything about Fiesta, including our culture and all the amazing people that come together to celebrate Fiesta.
And last night was just the unveiling of the 5 finalists, but we won't find out which one is the official poster until January.
And in case you're wondering, Fiesta 2026 begins April 16th.
All right, well, let's look at your forecast. So we are making our way up through the 80s and eventually we'll be in the 90s. 92 for high today, 93 tomorrow, but it's the morning lows that will be so nice. 65 Saturday morning, 68 Sunday morning. We will get some more clouds by the end of the weekend and going into early next week. But it is a rain-free forecast. That's unfortunate, but at least the temperatures are doable.
And the humidity is doable.
Well, that really is, people were asking about the front, like, why isn't it like a cold wind and all that stuff? It's not that kind of front. It was a front that basically erased the humidity, and that allows those temperatures to get cooler in the morning. So that's
still nicer.
Small steps,
It is a change. It is baby steps. We will get there, though.
And it'll be nice tomorrow for the Cure 5K, so we'll see you there Saturday morning.
Have a great day.